Welcome to TechMan. This video is a recording of a live webinar, so you may hear references to live questions or features as they appeared at the time. With that in mind, let's dive in.
So what we'll do, we'll hover over jobs and we'll scroll down to check sheets. If you've got the normal desktop view, if you're not on a laptop and you're on a normal desktop, you won't have to scroll down there. Obviously on the laptop you will, but that's absolutely fine. And then you'll come to this section. As I say, this is our demo system, so there's a couple of test ones in here and things like that. But upon system creation, you will all have 5 check sheets added to your systems unless you have specifically requested any more to be added. So the ones you'll get added is the courtesy car, the full service, the interim service schedule, the vehicle health check, and the standard service schedule check sheet. But as I say, if you have any more that you have requested, then they'll be put on there as well for you. So what I often say to people on training, when you know we're asked about check sheets and we do that kind of section in the training call, I always say look at our check sheets first, because you can edit check sheets. And the great thing is, obviously, this full service one is a 55 question check sheet. Now, if you were to try and add your own 55 question check sheet, obviously you're more than welcome to do that. And when it's done, it's done. But obviously it could take, 5, 10, 15 minutes to put all those questions in. And it's a lot less time consuming if you go on. So if I just go on to edit on this full service check sheet, and you can actually delete any question groups out, and you can also delete specific questions. So if there's some in here that say if you look through this and you're like, oh yeah, this is about 90% what I want, but I want a couple of these questions taken out and I actually want to add a couple of my own in. So where on the kind of right-hand side where my mouse is hovering, you've got a delete button. So you can delete any questions that you want, and then you can also add them in. But another great thing about this is that you can assign question groups. And that is the ascending order of how a check sheet will be allocated in terms of the order of questions. So you've got lights and electrical system first, internal vision, engine, and so on and so on and so on. So if you add a question, it will it obviously won't go to the top. If you wanted it at the top, you could then put it to lights and electrical system, and it will go at the top for you. The way you can always alter the order of answer groups is literally by the arrows here. So internal vision and lights and electrical system, they're 1 and 2, and now they've just swapped round. I'll put a lights and electrical system currently now at 2, and if I click the arrow facing down the bottom, that will now go to number 3. So that's how you can reorder them, which would then actually in turn reorder all the questions in there as well. So it's kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone with that function within the check sheet system. So that's how you can edit your own check sheets, or well, I say our check sheets that we've already inputted. But if you have a check sheet that you completely want to add in yourself, then this will be how you do it. So you've got the plus button in here, which is on the left-hand side next to manage check sheets. Now, as most of you who will have even only used the system for maybe a week or 2, you'll see that this plus button is quite a common theme in the system on like labor units, on personnel, products, users. There's always this plus button, which always means the same thing, which is add whatever that is. So we'll add that here, and this is literally the creation of a new check sheet. So what we'll do in here, we will name this, and what I'll just name this is webinar test check sheet. So what this will allow me to do is so that name basically will always correlate to what I want it to be. So when we're ever in a job and we're adding check sheets within that job, then you'll obviously have the title there that you can just quickly add in. So it's not cryptic in any way, it's just obviously whatever you want it to be. Now, if you want to start an end message in there, you can, but we won't add that in for now. And then here's where you can add the question groups. So in order to add questions to a check sheet, you will always need a question group adding first. So I'll hit question group, and we'll just do test 1. I'll add a couple in here for good measure, test 2, and then test 3. So that's how you can add the question groups. If you want, you only need 1 question group. There is, I believe it's the courtesy car check sheet that we do. We only have 1 question group. So you can just utilize 1, but you still do need a question group on there. And then I'll hit save. So now that's saved, that has allowed me to then add other questions in there as well. So I can hit add question, and then it will come up with these options. So if I just say training question 1, it will then ask me what answer type that I want to use. And this is a really good thing in there, because there could be certain questions that only have a yes or no answer. Certain could be obviously traffic lights. I think this is quite the common, most used option in here, because obviously green means it's perfect, can be put back on the road. Amber obviously means, you know, it doesn't need to be fixed right now, but it's certainly advisory that you will come back. And red means obviously you don't want to put that on the road. You don't want to be the ones that say, yes, this can go out of our garage and be put on the road. You need it fixed. There's multiple text ones as well, if it's a question that will require you writing in something. And there's also an image upload as well. Whichever one you want. Obviously in the image upload, there's always an option to upload images to check sheets anyway, but this will mean that image is what is required for you guys to move on there. So that's the difference between it being kind of mandatory and not to add an image to that specific question. What I'll do, I'll just hit traffic light in there for now. And on here, you can also allow follow-up dates, notes, supporting images, and allow the question to be skipped. So I think, you know, a lot of these are very important. If you want a supporting image on there, always obviously tick allow supporting image. But another one is obviously allow the question to be skipped. Now, that 55 question full service check sheet that we've got, you know, we always actually set it to not allow the question to be skipped, purely because, you know, in the TechMan system, we like to do everything as properly as possible, which obviously not allowing it to be skipped is doing that. However, in real time, you guys might want some questions to be allowed to be skipped, because it may not always be applicable. So you can do that in there. So obviously your technicians won't get annoyed with having to answer unnecessary questions on the off chance. So, and then you would just hit add question in there, and then that's added for you. You know, we'll put a couple in here, and we'll just do the traffic lights and allow notes and follow-ups. I'll just I'll add about 5 questions in here, just so we can see in the situ of a job what that would look like on there. Now, as I say, guys, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. I'll go back and forth a little bit just to check if any questions have been asked. Obviously, usually I'd have 2 screens, but today I only have 1. So please bear with if what your question isn't answered for a few minutes. But I will see all of them by the end if any are put in. Perfect. So that's all now added in. So that's 5 questions, and the important thing is, if it's the 5th one, you just have to save, and then it will save all 5 on there. You don't need to hit add question on there. So no, it looks like everyone is still all fine. So what we will now do is we will go and hit save, and then that check sheet is added into the system. So if I hit all check sheets now, then you can see right at the bottom here, it says webinar test check sheet. And that is now that check sheet added into the system. So obviously with most check sheets, it'll probably be longer than 5 questions in there. However, it will, it's quite self-explanatory in there. And the more you kind of do it, I say the more you do it, check sheets, you know, once it's in the system, you don't need to create it again. So there may not be many times you need to, but it is quite a simple process and one to get your head around very, very quickly on there. Right, so what we'll do now, we will quickly go and create a job in the system. I'll just hit new job. There'll be loads of jobs already open for this because our demo system, and I never seem to have the time to delete them off. So we obviously will add a labor code in just for good measure on here. Oh. Labor code 2 on here. We'll add it to technician 3. And then what I'll do, I'll delete those off. I'll delete that one off. And what I forgot to mention, apologies, is that I ticked this to be added to every every job. So in there, slight oversight on my side, apologies, I'll just quickly go back at the end to show you that. There is a button where you can add something to every job. So if you want to always have a vehicle health check, our vehicle health check, I believe, is 12 to 13 questions long, around that number. But obviously you can delete some if you only want it to be 6 or 7 questions long. And if you want to add that to every job, you can. I know our garage downstairs from, well, obviously that belong to us, they always add the vehicle health check one in there, but it's ticked to add to all jobs, so they're not manually doing it every time. So if you were manually doing it, you'd hit the select button here, and then you would just select whichever check sheet you want to add. Obviously, we've already added the webinar one, so we don't need to add that again. And what I'll do, I'll just make sure, what time is it? It's exactly 2:15 now, so I'll just book this in for 3, and then I'll create the job in here. So just wait for this to create. Perfect, that's all done. And now I will go on to Tech View, and I will show you what that looks like for your technician. Because you guys in the office, obviously you may have looked at it a couple of times on the training session and stuff, but afterwards you may not have obviously gone through to look at it. So obviously this is Tech View, you know, the look of Tech View, and I will just load this job in here, which is the one that we created for this today. Obviously, you can see that it's already been viewed by TechMan support. And then we'll scroll down. So in here, obviously, you've got your normal labor units, your products. That's great. Obviously, we're not covering that in the TechMan webinar today, but this is what TechView looks like for anyone who's obviously forgotten. And what we'll do in here, I'll just show you a couple of ways of how to view the check sheets. So you can hit start. And this is one way of doing it. And you would literally be hitting green and then hitting, this just in the way, let's move this, there we go. And then hitting the green arrow, put this right in the other corner. In fact, you can get rid of it straight altogether, look at that. So you would hit green in there, and then you would hit the arrow here. And that would mean that that has now answered. You can now see we're on check 2, where it's where my mouse is just hovering here. But the great thing is obviously you can add any supporting images. So you can just hit that, it will bring up the camera roll option. Obviously with the desktop, it brings up files, but you can obviously bring up the camera roll option and add any photos that you've already taken on here. This test 1 is the question group. So obviously if I put any questions in test 2, it would then divvy it out via that. You can also skip. So if you have allowed it to skip, there is the skip option up here. On there. If you've not clicked allow to skip, then that won't be there, so they'll have to answer it. And what I'll do, I'll just click this one as amber, and I'll just put test comment in there. So then when we go onto the job itself, you can see exactly what that looks like. So what I'll do, I will now, so say if you've done those questions and that's great, and you need to now move on to do other stuff on the job, so you're not able to fill out all of those questions as a technician, you can hit the job button and then scroll down, and it will have saved your progress. And if you click view all checks in here, it saves your progress. So it shows you what's been answered, what times it has been answered, and what color it's been answered for as well. Now, actually, I'll just go back quickly to jobs and check sheets, because what I'll do, I'll group them a little bit, and then you'll be able to see a little bit more. So I'll do test 2, and I'll do test 2 for question 4 and 5. So I'll save that, and then I will just quickly refresh this page. So what that has done now is I've grouped those is test 1 and test 2. So say if this was engine and then brakes, the different categories that obviously you could have in there to make it, one, easier for your technicians in terms of, you know, I know they're professional technicians, but obviously to iron out exactly of what they need to be covering within that group, all the individual questions, but also to help them in terms of their efficiency. You know, you don't want someone having a brake question next to an engine question, next to like a lighting question. You know, you want them all within the same group and in order, so they can answer it in order and they're not flicking about between loads of questions. And that's what the great thing is about those question groups in there. So if you wanted to skip to question 2, Group 2, sorry, you can. We'll tick that as green. Then go on here and we'll tick that as green in there. And then that will be the check sheet all done, even though obviously we haven't completed question 4. So what I'll do, I'll just hit answer on here for question 3, apologies, and I'll just hit that as green as well. So now we can view all checks. Hit that as green, hit the arrow, and then we can view all checks because that's now all saved. So that's literally how your technician will answer it. That's obviously just their view of it, and I think sometimes it's really good to see what your colleagues are looking at for the TechMan system. Whether that be on TechView or TechMan, it's quite good to obviously sometimes appreciate. So this is what your technicians will be seeing on there, and then when they've answered it, they can obviously hit complete or restart. The system will know when it has finished. So obviously you've hit 5 out of 5. The tick box now shows complete, but you can always restart it if needed. Perfect. So what I'll do, I will just go back onto that job on here. What was the job number? So I'll just type it in quickly. Sorry, my mouse is just playing up. 1 second. There we go. So we'll go back onto the job. Obviously, another great thing in the system, by the by, of check sheets, but you can see that this is being viewed by the technician that's currently working on it as well, helping obviously keep tabs on them if you need. And then here's where you can view the check sheet. So if you want to email a check sheet to a customer, obviously you can just click that and click there, and then it will come up with an email function, just like it is here. So you can always email it if you want to put the template on. You may not actually have a template in here at the moment, and obviously funnily enough, I've got a bit of continuity. Last week's webinar, which is now available on our YouTube channel, was on this very part of templates. So if you go and view that, you'll be able to watch how you can create templates within the system. And if you want one for check sheets, you can do that on there. So that's on our YouTube channel. It's literally called TechMan. And all of the webinars, including this one at a later date, will be uploaded, so you can always watch them back. So if I hit download and hit check sheets, this is how you can print it off and or obviously see what it looks like. So here we have, obviously, again, it will be a lot of a bigger screen when it's on your desktop, and you won't need to scroll down or anything on here. So just ignore that little bit on the laptop here. But here's the really great thing. So it tells you what the check sheet is and who the customer name is on there as well. And obviously all the details there. But where I've got the amber one, any advisories on there will be on there. So obviously we've put test comment, and that's just what we've written on there, but that's on the amber, so our customers can see exactly what we were advising. But another really great thing about this was if I was to have added a photo on here, it would also come up on the check sheet. So that's really, I think the photo thing is very underrated kind of in the system. And it's a really, really good function because, 90% of customers will be fine. They'll trust you. And if you say something may need doing, then obviously they'll trust you with that. But there will be the odd one that says, oh, you're just trying to get my money out of me or whatever, stuff like that. Vast majority of customers are great, but you always know that there'll be one, unfortunately, like that. And you can use that photo functionality to prove and support that question of saying that this needs doing. You can take a photo of exactly what the issue is, attach it to that either red or amber advisory, so that customer is fully aware of what needs happening and that they're under no illusions that you guys aren't thoroughly checking stuff on there as well. So it kind of helps the customer understand it, but also helps your kind of backup of that on there, and kind of makes you guys a little bit more you have a bit more backup to kind of prove exactly what you're saying on there. So that's why the photo functionality is so good in the check sheets. So if I was to view all checks on here, hit answer on one of them, and it's this supporting image here. So where my mouse is hovering, where it says add image, that's where you can add an image for the check sheets on there. Now, I did just say I was going to go back because I didn't show initially. So jobs and TechView check sheets, that's where you can access them. And this is where you can click add to all new jobs. So if I go back onto the webinar one, I've got the add to all new jobs tab ticked here. And as you'll have seen, when we created that new job, it automatically added. So if you don't want that, then you can just untick it, sorry, and then hit save, and that will obviously save in there for you. You know, there's some in here like that vehicle health check one, you know, that's 13 questions. We'll just quickly go through that. You know, that one isn't actually added to all new jobs on our demo system, but I know a lot of garages, including our own, do add it in as a mandatory, as add to all new jobs, because you know, it's a bit more customer satisfaction. They can see exactly what's been done, and even if it's a job not really relating to anything in that vehicle health check, you're just doing a bit of a courtesy whilst going through the actual job. Obviously helps your customer satisfaction and hopefully repeat business with that as well, to just show your kind of caringness for that customer and their vehicle. But this one's a really great example. We haven't grouped anything together in the vehicle health check. Obviously, if you want to, you can always edit our own ones in there, you know. So actually, we've got 5 minutes left. Let's just edit one in here. So we've got the, I don't want to, which one have we got? We've got the safety inspection maintenance. We'll just use that one for now. So there's 6 questions in here. Now, if I just wanted to delete these 2, you can hit save in there. And that's now deleted out of here. And then if you wanted to add any questions, you would just hit add here. I could just put the customer declaration. And then just put the free text one in here. And then you hit save. So that was a 6-question check sheet. This is now a 5-question check sheet. And then if we go back to all check sheets, then we can see that that's now a 5-question check sheet.
Thanks for watching. For more TechMan webinars, updates, and training content, don't forget to subscribe and explore our other videos. See you next time.